The sky was black with violent clouds, the air heavy with the taste of metal. Thunder rolled across the horizon like an angry beast, and the ground shook as if the world itself was breaking apart. On the edge of the wasteland, a young alien woman named Sira ran as fast as her legs could carry her. Her lungs burned, her skin stung as sharp winds slashed across her face. Behind her, the storm chased like a living monster, sending waves of lightning that split the sky in blinding white flashes. Her people had always feared these storms. They were not ordinary storms. They were death winds that could strip flesh from bone and melt stone into rivers. To be caught outside was certain death. Sira knew she had only minutes before the storm swallowed her. She stumbled, her feet sinking into the cracked earth. Her eyes darted wildly, searching for any kind of shelter. Then, through the haze of dust and flashes of lightning, she saw it. A bunker, half buried in the dirt, its door hanging crooked like it had been untouched for centuries. Sira's heart pounded. She had heard stories about these old bunkers, ancient shelters left behind by a race her people whispered about with both fear and hatred. Humans. Her mind screamed not to go inside. Her elders always said nothing good ever came from where humans once lived. But the storm roared closer, shaking the very air. She had no choice. She pushed open the heavy metal door with trembling hands. The hinges groaned like a dying animal. Inside, the air was dry, still, and cold. The darkness swallowed her. She stepped inside, hoping only for safety from the storm outside. Then she froze. There, sitting in the shadows, was a figure, broad-shouldered, tall, his eyes gleaming faintly in the dim light. His face was pale compared to her kind, his features hard, marked by scars. He was not one of her people. He was something impossible. He was human. Sira's heart almost stopped. Her people said humans were long dead, wiped from the galaxy, erased from history by their own violence. Yet one sat here, breathing, alive, watching her. Her body trembled. She wanted to scream, to run, but outside was death, and inside was fear. Her back pressed against the door, her hands shaking as her claws scraped the metal. She could not believe her eyes. The man did not move. He simply sat, staring at her with an expression she could not read. His eyes were strange, deep, filled with something she had never seen before, strength and sorrow together. Finally, he spoke. His voice was low, steady, carrying weight like thunder after lightning. "You should sit," he said. The words hit her like a blade. He spoke in her language, broken but clear. Sira shook her head, her voice cracking. You are supposed to be gone." The man tilted his head, his scarred face unreadable. "Gone," he repeated softly. "No, not gone." The storm outside screamed louder, rattling the walls. Dust fell from the ceiling as the wind tore at the world. Sira's chest heaved. She could not run. She could not fight. All she could do was stand frozen in fear, staring at the human who should not exist. Her people told endless stories about humans. Some said they were monsters who killed without reason. Others said they were demons who rose from fire. But her grandmother once whispered a different story, one of a proud people who stood against the galaxy itself, who refused to kneel. Sira's eyes darted to the man's hands. They rested calmly on his knees, scarred but steady. He made no move to attack, no move to chase her, only silence. Her throat was dry, her voice trembling. "Why are you here?" The man looked at her for a long moment, then slowly, he leaned back against the wall, his eyes closed, his voice a whisper. "Because storms are new, but the only thing to fear." Sira shivered. She pressed tighter against the door. The storm outside wailed like a monster clawing to get in. Inside, the air was heavy with silence, but the silence was worse. Her people told her humans were extinct, but now one sat here, alive, dangerous, mysterious. The thought struck her like lightning. If one human survived, how many more were hidden in the shadows of the galaxy? Her claws tapped against the cold steel door, her breath quick and shallow. She knew her life had changed the moment she stepped into this bunker. The storm might end, but something far greater had begun. The man opened his eyes again, his gaze locked on her, steady, unblinking. In that moment, Sira realized she was not trapped in a shelter with a human. She was trapped in a cage with a predator who chose not to strike. The storm screamed outside, but inside the bunker, it was Sira's fear that screamed louder. And as thunder shook the world, one truth burned in her mind like fire. Humans were not gone. They were waiting. The storm outside raged like a beast, tearing the sky apart. Lightning painted the world in white and thunder shook the ground. Yet inside the shelter, the silence between Sira and the human was louder than the storm. Her breath came quick, her heart pounded against her chest like a drum. She had never felt so close to death, not even when the storm first chased her across the wasteland. The man slowly reached into the shadows beside him. Sira flinched, her claws scraping against the door. She thought he would pull out a weapon, some ancient human tool of destruction. But instead, he lifted a small flask, the surface scratched and dented. He held it out, his voice steady. Water. The word struck her harder than a blade. Water was life, water was scarce, yet he offered it to her, a stranger, an enemy. Her instincts screamed that it was a trick, a trap. Her peeping. Lee always said humans use kindness like bait before the strike. But the thirst in her throat was unbearable. The storm had drained her strength. Her body trembled not only from fear but from exhaustion. She shook her head, her voice weak. Why? Why give me this? The man's eyes narrowed. His face was calm but his voice carried weight. Because storms don't care who lives or dies. Sira's claws loosened from the door. The storm screamed louder outside, but her fear turned inward. The human was not acting like the monster she had been told about. He was calm, steady, almost protective. But why, her people said humans were wiped out long ago. Yet here one sat, alive, strong, and offering water instead of death. She stepped closer, one trembling step. Her hand reached out, her fingers brushing the flask. The man's eyes never left hers. He let her take it. He did not move to stop her. The water was warm, metallic, but it burned her throat with relief. She drank, and in that moment, something broke inside her. The barrier of fear cracked. Still, she could not trust him fully. Her voice quivered. You should not exist. The man tilted his head, scars catching the faint light. Neither should storms like this. But here we are. His words made her shiver. The storm roared as if answering him. Dust rained from the ceiling. The old bunker shook. She felt trapped between two dangers, the storm outside and the human inside. Sira lowered the flask, her voice sharp. If my people knew you lived, they would come. They would destroy you. The man's lips curved, not in a smile but something darker. They already tried, he whispered. His eyes flashed with something she could not name, pain, fury, memory. The silence that followed was heavier than steel. Sira felt it pressing on her chest. Her grandmother's whispers echoed in her mind. Humans never kneel. Humans never vanish. And they wait. Her claws tapped against the flask. Why are you here? She asked, her words breaking the silence. The man leaned forward, his face now clear in the dim light. His eyes held the fire of storms themselves. Because your leaders lied, he said slowly. We are not gone. We never were. Sira's breath caught. She stumbled back, her body hitting the cold wall. If his words were true, then everything she had been told was a lie. Her people, her history, her entire world. The man closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. His gaze sharper, colder. I am not the last. There are others, hidden where your kind cannot reach. The air turned heavy. The storm outside screamed louder. It was as if the world itself reacted to his truth. Sira trembled. She had come here only to survive the storm, but she had found something far greater. She had found the living proof that humans still walk the galaxy, and the weight of that truth felt more dangerous than the storm itself. The man leaned back into the shadows, his voice dropping to a whisper that cut like a blade. This is not the end of the storm, little one. This is only the beginning. The storm outside hammered the shelter like a beast, trying to claw its way in. Lightning cracked so bright it lit the bunker walls for a heartbeat, and thunder rolled so deep it rattled her bones. Yet inside, it was the human's words that shook Sira more than the storm. We are not gone. She stood frozen, her claws trembling against the flask. Her heart wanted to deny it, her mind screamed that he was lying, but his eyes, scarred and hollow, carried a weight that no lie could bear. Finally, her voice cracked the silence. My people said humans destroyed themselves. They said you burned your own worlds. They said you vanished into ash. The man's jaw tightened. His gaze darkened. "That is what they want you to believe," he said, his voice low, each word heavy. "But the truth is different. The truth is darker." Sierra's breath caught. She had always believed the stories told by her elders, stories of human greed and violence, stories that painted them as monsters unfit to live. Yet something about the way this man spoke pulled at her chest, as if a hidden thread of truth had been waiting to unravel. She whispered, almost afraid of her own words, "Then tell me, what really happened?" The man leaned forward, his scarred face half in shadow. "We fought," he said. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned. "We fought against empires that called us weak. We fought against chains they tried to put around our necks. They feared us because we would not kneel, and when they could not kill us, they told the galaxy we were gone." Sierra's throat tightened. Her claws pressed into the flask so hard it dented. The weight of his words filled her with both fear and wonder. Her grandmother's whispers returned to her memory. "Never kneel, never vanish." She swallowed hard. "But if you survived, why hide? Why not return?" The man's face darkened like a storm cloud. His voice dropped lower. "Because the galaxy hunts us still. Because power fears what it cannot control. We did not vanish. We learned to wait." The silence stretched. The storm outside screamed, but it felt distant now. Smaller than the storm inside her heart, she looked at him, her voice trembling. "And you, are you the last?" For the first time, a flicker of something sharp crossed his face. Not anger, not sorrow, but a dangerous spark. His lips curved into the shadow of a smile. "No," he whispered, "not the last." The words hit her like lightning. Her chest tightened. If he was not the last, then others existed, hidden somewhere in the void. Her people had lied. Her leaders had lied. Fear crawled through her veins. She imagined her world trembling under the weight of this truth. She imagined human warships rising from the stars, their return shocking the galaxy. The bunker groaned under the weight of the storm. Dust fell from the ceiling. The shadows seemed to stretch. Her claws scraped the wall as she whispered, "Why are you telling me this? Why me?" The man's eyes locked on hers, sharp as a blade. "Because you walked into the storm, because you found me, and now you carry a truth your kind was never meant to hear." Sierra's stomach twisted. She felt both cursed and chosen, trapped between terror and destiny. Her eyes darted to the door, to the storm screaming outside. She thought about running, escaping. But even if she survived the storm, how could she live with this secret? The man leaned back, his voice colder now. "You think the storm outside is dangerous? Wait until you see the one coming." Sierra's claws trembled against the wall. Her chest rose and fell in quick gasps. She had entered this place only to survive, but she had stepped into something far greater, far deadlier. The human's final whisper cut through the thunder like steel. "Your world is not ready, and when we return, nothing will ever be the same." The storm outside roared like a giant beast clawing at the sky, yet inside the shelter the silence was heavy. It pressed against Sierra's chest until she felt she could not breathe. The human's words echoed in her skull. "We never vanished. We wait." She wanted to deny it, wanted to believe her elders, but doubt gnawed at her heart. Each glance at his scarred face, each weight-filled word, pulled her deeper into a truth she was not ready to face. The bunker shuddered as thunder cracked again. Dust rained from the ceiling. Sierra stumbled backward. Her claws brushed against a panel in the wall, and something strange happened. The wall lit up. A line of soft blue light blinked awake beneath her hand. For a moment she froze in shock. The shelter was not dead. It was alive, waiting. The human's eyes snapped open. His voice was sharp. "Don't move." But it was too late. The panel hummed. A hidden door slid open with a hiss of stale air. The light spread across the walls, illuminating rows of strange machines, ancient but powerful. Sierra's heart raced. Her people had nothing like this. Their machines were crude compared to the sleek, terrifying elegance of what now glowed before her. She whispered, her voice trembling, "What is this?" The human stepped forward, his eyes shadowed but burning with something she could not name, pride and sorrow mixed together. "It is a fragment of what we were," he said, "a memory of what we still are." The machines pulsed faintly, as if they sensed his presence. Strange symbols flickered across screens that had not lit in centuries. Weapons, maps, records. Sierra could not understand them, but her body shivered with instinct. These were tools of power. Her claws clutched her chest. If my people see this, they will fear it. They will destroy it. The man shook his head slowly, his voice dark. No, they will not destroy it. They will try to take it. They will try to use it. And that is why we hide. Sierra's throat tightened. Every story she had heard painted humans as reckless beasts who destroyed everything. Yet what she saw now was not destruction, but preparation. She felt as if she had opened a door to something vast, something that could change her entire world. She whispered, "Why keep this hidden? Why not show the galaxy your strength?" The man's jaw clenched, his scars twisted as he spoke. Because the galaxy does not respect strength, it fears it, and when the galaxy fears, it kills. We learned that lesson with blood. The shelter's hum grew louder. Lights flickered as if waking from a long slumber. Sierra's skin prickled. The storm outside seemed small compared to the storm that had just been unleashed inside. Her mind swirled with terror and awe. If humans had such machines hidden away, then her people's power was nothing but dust. The thought made her stomach twist. Then a sound cut through the bunker, a sound that froze her blood. Footsteps, not his, not hers, but heavy, armored steps echoing down the corridor. The human's face hardened, his eyes sharpened like blades. "They found us," he whispered. Sierra's claws dug into the wall. Her voice cracked. Who is it?" The man's hand brushed over one of the glowing consoles, pulling open a compartment. Inside lay a weapon unlike anything she had ever seen. Sleek, brutal, forged for war. He lifted it with steady hands. His voice was low but carried a weight that made her shiver. "Your people." Sierra's chest tightened. The storm outside screamed, but now it was nothing compared to the storm inside the shelter. She had thought she ran from death, but perhaps she had only run straight into its heart. The human turned to her, his eyes sharp, his voice cold. "You must choose. Stay silent and live, or betray me and die with them." Her heart pounded. Her claws trembled. The footsteps grew closer, louder, and in that moment Sierra realized the truth. She was no longer only surviving a storm. She was standing at the edge of history itself. The storm outside screamed like a living monster, but inside the shelter another storm was about to begin. The heavy footsteps echoed down the metal corridor, steady and sharp, a sound of soldiers hunting. Sierra's claws dug into the wall. Her heart raced, her throat felt dry. She knew that rhythm of boots. It was her own kind. Armed patrols. They had followed her trail through the wasteland. They were searching for her, but when they stepped inside this shelter, they would find far more than her. The human moved with calm precision. His eyes glowed in the dim light. His weapon hummed faint. As if alive in his hands, he crouched near the glowing consoles, every line of his body ready for war. He whispered without looking at her, "Your people have orders. They will kill me on sight." Sierra's breath hitched. She knew it was true. Her people had been taught to fear and destroy humans. No questions, no mercy. If they saw him, they would fire without hesitation. Her claws scraped against the cold wall. She wanted to scream, to run, to stop time, but her body was frozen between terror and choice. The footsteps grew louder. Voices followed, harsh and sharp. The language of her kind filled the bunker. "Track her scent. She came this way. The shelter is open. Spread out. She is inside." Sierra's chest tightened. They thought they were only hunting her, but soon they would discover him. The human turned his face toward her for the first time since the footsteps began. His eyes locked on hers, sharp and unblinking. "Decide," he whispered. "Stand with me or against me. There is no middle." Her heart pounded. She wanted to deny it, to say she was only a survivor trapped in this storm, but his words cut her deeper than the thunder. There was no middle. The first soldier stepped through the door. His armor gleamed, his weapon raised. His eyes locked on Sierra first. "There you are," he barked. "We thought the storm took you. You should have stayed lost." Then his gaze shifted. He froze. His pupils widened. His body stiffened as he saw the figure behind her in the shadows. The human stepped forward, silent as death. His weapon rose. The soldier's voice cracked. No, it cannot be. Humans are. The rest of his words were drowned in a flash of light. The weapon thundered. A burst of energy tore through the soldier's chest. His body collapsed to the ground before his scream even reached the air. The shelter exploded into chaos. Shouts filled the corridor. Boots slammed against the floor. More soldiers stormed in. Their weapons fired bolts of green fire, sizzling against the bunker walls. The human moved like lightning, his body a storm of motion. Every shot from his weapon struck true. Soldiers fell one after another. Their armor cracked. Their screams echoed. Sira pressed against the wall, her claws trembling. Her people were dying, yet she could not move, could not stop watching. The man fought like no one she had ever seen. He was a predator, but not wild. His fury was controlled, precise, terrifying. Her mind screamed at her, "Help them, they are your kind." But her heart whispered something darker. If humans are truly alive, then everything changes. A soldier lunged at the man with a blade. The human twisted, slammed his arm aside, and fired point blank. The body dropped at Sira's feet, blood steaming on the floor. Her breath caught, her claws shook. She realized the human was not only fighting for himself, he was fighting as if protecting something far greater. Then a new voice thundered from the corridor, deeper, commanding, "Hold your ground, bring him down." A captain stepped into view, his armor black, his weapon massive, his eyes locked on the human with hatred burning like fire. "You should not exist," he snarled. The human raised his weapon, his voice cold as steel. "And yet here I am." The air froze, the storm outside roared, the soldiers closed in, the captain charged, and in that heartbeat Sira knew the choice could no longer be delayed. Her claws trembled, her chest burned. She had to decide. Would she scream and betray the human, or would she stand at his side? The answer would decide not only her fate, but the fate of her world. The shelter became a war zone. The sound of weapons echoed like thunder. The air filled with smoke and burning metal. Soldiers poured into the narrow corridor, their eyes wide with fury, their blades and rifles flashing. The human fought like a storm-given flesh. He moved with speed that seemed impossible. Each shot from his weapon found its target. Each strike sent another soldier crashing to the ground. His face was calm, yet behind his calm was a fury sharp enough to cut the air. Sira's heart pounded against her chest. Her claws scraped the wall. She could not believe what she was seeing. One man against many. Yet he stood like an army. Her people had called humans reckless beasts, but what she saw was not recklessness. It was precision. It was power, honed in silence. The captain roared, his massive frame cutting through the smoke. His blade glowed red as he swung at the human. Sparks flew when steel met steel. The bunker shook with each clash. The sound was louder than the storm outside. The human pushed back, his scars twisting as he fought. His voice thundered with each strike. "You hunt us like animals, but we are not prey." The soldiers shouted, their weapons blazing. Green fire tore across the walls. Sira ducked as sparks rained over her head. Her breath came in gasps. She knew what was expected of her. She was supposed to scream, to strike, to help her kind kill him. But her claws trembled. Her eyes refused to leave the human's face. In him she saw not only a fighter, but something else, something her people had never spoken of. She saw defiance. A soldier lunged at her suddenly, grabbing her arm. His voice barked, "Get away from him! He will kill you too!" Sira's chest burned. Her claws slashed without thought. The soldier screamed as she cut across his arm. He fell back, eyes wide with shock. She froze at what she had done. For the first time in her life, she had raised her claws, not against the storm, not against an enemy of her people, but against her own kind. The human's eyes flicked toward her, sharp and unreadable. Then he moved again, blasting another soldier aside, his voice cut through the chaos. "Now you see, you cannot stand in the middle. Choose Sira." Her name on his lips felt like thunder. She staggered back, her breath shaking. Her heart screamed in two directions, loyalty to her people, or truth to what she had seen. The captain slammed his blade down. The human barely blocked. Sparks exploded. His weapon shuddered. The captain snarled, "Your kind is gone. You will be buried tonight." The human's eyes flared, his voice a growl, "No, we are only waking." With a twist, he broke the captain's guard, slammed him into the wall, and fired. The shot tore through the captain's armor, sending him crashing to the ground with a scream that shook the corridor. The remaining soldiers hesitated. Fear flickered in their eyes. They had never seen their captain fall. Never seen one human stand against so many. The storm outside howled louder. Lightning flashed through the cracks of the door. The whole world seemed to hold its breath. Sierra stepped forward, her claws no longer shaking, her voice cracked but strong. "Stop," she shouted to the soldiers. "He is not what they told us. He is not the monster you believe." The soldiers froze, staring at her in shock. One barked, "You defend him. You betray us." Sierra's chest rose, her eyes locked on the human, then back to her people, her voice steadier now. "No, I see the truth, and the truth is more dangerous than any storm." The soldiers shifted, torn between rage and fear. The human lifted his weapon again, his voice cold. "They will not stop. We must move now." He stepped closer to her, his presence like fire in the cold. "If you want to live, run with me." Sierra's heart pounded, her claws clenched. Behind her was the world she had always known. Ahead of her was a storm. Of truth and fire, the bunker trembled as the storm outside shook the earth. The choice was no longer survival, it was destiny, and with one step forward, Sierra made her choice. The bunker walls shook as another blast of thunder tore across the sky. Dust rained from the ceiling, flames crackled where the soldiers had fallen. Their bodies lay silent, but the air still trembled with violence. Sierra's chest heaved. Her claws dripped with her own people's blood. Her world was shattered. The storm outside had forced her into this shelter, but the storm inside had changed her forever. The human stood tall, his weapon still glowing faintly. His scars burned in the dim light, his eyes sharp and unyielding. He glanced at her, and for the first time there was no command, no demand. Only a question, unspoken but clear. "Will you follow?" Sierra swallowed hard. Her claws tightened. She gave a small nod. The man turned toward the glowing consoles. He pressed a sequence with quick, practiced movements. The wall split open to reveal a tunnel stretching deep into the earth. Its edges glowed faint blue, ancient symbols flickering to life. "Come," he said, his voice low but steady. "The storm will swallow this place soon. We must go." Sierra hesitated only a heartbeat before stepping into the tunnel. The air was cold, metallic, filled with the hum of hidden machines. With each step, the silence grew heavier. She felt as if she was walking deeper into a secret no one was meant to see. At the end of the tunnel, a door opened with a hiss. Beyond it stretched a cavern vast as the night sky. Sierra froze, her eyes wide, her breath caught in her throat. Inside the cavern stood ships, not small crafts, but massive vessels, sleek and dark. Their surfaces shimmered with light like stars trapped in steel. Hundreds of them rested in silence, their size enough to dwarf cities, their presence enough to silence worlds. Her claws trembled, her voice cracked. This is impossible." The human stepped beside her, his eyes glowed faintly in the cavern light, his voice carried the weight of centuries. "No, this is humanity." The ships hummed as if alive, lights flickered across their hulls, ancient machines waking from long sleep. One by one, engines began to pulse like beating hearts. Sierra's body shook. Her people had told her humans were extinct, broken, erased. Yet here stood a fleet strong enough to shake the galaxy itself. Her voice trembled. "Why now? Why awaken now?" The man's face hardened, his eyes turned toward the cavern ceiling where the storm rumbled above. "Because the galaxy believes we are gone, and that belief is their weakness." The air quaked as the first ship lifted from its cradle. Dust fell like rain. The ground shook under its power. Sierra covered her face with her claws, awe and terror burning in her chest. She whispered, "If my people learn of this, they will try to stop you." The man turned to her, his scars twisting into a shadow of a smile. "Let them try," he said. "We have waited long enough." The cavern roared as more ships rose. Their engines thundered louder than the storm outside. The glow filled the tunnels, the world trembling as humanity's fleet awakened from its slumber. Sierra's heart pounded. She had stepped into the shelter only to escape the storm, but she had walked into something far greater. She was no longer a refugee. She was now a witness to the rebirth of a legend. The human looked at her once more, his eyes unyielding. "When we return, nothing will remain the same." Above them, the cavern ceiling split open, revealing the black storm-filled sky. The ships ascended, breaking through thunder and lightning. Their shadows swallowed the heavens. Syrah fell to her knees, her claws pressed against the stone, tears burned her eyes. The galaxy believed humans were gone, but the truth thundered above her. They had never vanished, they had only been waiting, and now the storm was theirs.